here's the plan. In all honesty, I've taped a lot of smallmouth shows, whether it's inland, up north, Great Lakes, and the Great Lakes are their own separate beast. And what my game plan was, and always is when I go to the Great Lakes, is if Mother Nature lets her window open just a hair, you have to take advantage of it and go out there. But here's the thing. My plan is to go out on Lake Huron and get one bite. Because if you get one out there, you're gonna get a bunch. Whenever you mess with Lake Huron, which is a little bit different monster from a lot of the other Great Lakes, whether you're in Ontario, Superior, Michigan, Erie, it really seems like the bass on Lake Huron, they're more pelagic. That's right, I know what that word means actually. I'll throw in a word, pelagic. They swim here. They suspend, they live with salmon, but there are times of the year that they will come into the zone where we can connect. There is something so scary and intimidating. I remember when I came here when I was in my late teens, early 20s, that when you come out of a lot of these harbors on the Great Lakes, you see that ocean. But there is something so incredibly awesome about that. Let's ride. I took my twin boys in here back when they were 12, and it was one of those days as a family. It was dead flat calm, and you'd hook one, and he'd have 20 with them, and they'd pick out the one they wanted to catch and drop their bait down. This is no joke. My kid caught one, and it had a lamprey sore on the side of it. Landed it, we weighed it, weighed just under 6 pounds. He let it go. My other boy was on the back deck, dropped his tube over the side, and the fish swam down and ate his tube. After being weighed. I like dumb ones like that. That's no joke. After the fish was weighed, he let him go and he bit again. Biggin. Gosh, look at the size of that bass, man. Coming up, watch you jump. That is a horse. I am shaking right now like a leaf. That's why we came out here right there. I mean, biggin'. I am soaked and frozen. That's the way to start. Look at that. All right, I'm gonna kind of dial in what we're doing. Here's what I'm gonna do, gang. Just a little tip. I'm gonna kidnap him for a minute. We're not fishing very deep, and in my mind, Don't let them go to tell everybody that the party needs to be busted up. We're gonna put him in there. We're gonna take good care of him now, gang. Let's get it going. You know, I fished out on Lake Huron since I was a little dude, and this lake will humble you. You don't just, hey, we're going to Lake Huron for the day. You stare at the wind, and you need certain directions of wind to go out there and tangle with them. You come to any Great Lake, you come here and you play safe, because this place will eat you up. Here's what I look for in areas like this, okay? What happens is, throughout the decades and decades of waves that come in off of Lake Huron, and it happens on a lot of the Great Lakes, like 2 days ago, there was 8 to 10 foot waves here. I mean, it was wicked. And what happens is, through the decades and decades of those waves coming in, those waves bring massive amounts of pressure and current, and it'll make like 1 to 2 mile long wave trenches, where it'll go 13 foot, 11 foot, back down to 13, and it'll almost make like a high spot, like a highway for about 1 mile. And it's usually clean on top of it, and it has a little grass and stubble off to the side. There's shipwrecks out here for a reason, and you have to play it safe. What I always say about Lake Huron, it is no country for old men, period. But the game plan is, you know, I've driven 6 to 8 hours just to come here for 1 day. And the weatherman might have given us that day. I'm throwing a 3.5 inch coffee tube, best color in the world, green pumpkin, purple flake. It's for all my smallmouth friends at home right there. That is absolutely one of the best colors you could throw for a coffee tube. And I got it on 3/8 ounce head. But how I use a coffee tube is it's a slow bait. It's a notoriously slow bait, but I put a big enough head in it where I could jam, where I could cover some water. And the other side is Lou's made this rod. This is my signature series tube cracking special. This rod, this blank, is made just for smallmouth fishing. Get ready. Gosh! Get ready, he's gonna come up again in a second. But that blank, it's a 7'2". That blank's got a lot of power. You see how that tip's real soft. There's a bunch of backbone. Here he comes. Gah! We're gonna have a party to the gang. Same thing though. Come on. I guarantee you, that fish has not seen a lure this year. Look how he got that bait. Oh. That's what it's about right there, gang. To me, this is total power finesse fishing. Okay, this isn't little 6 pound. I'm using 8 pound straight fluorocarbon on this, but we'll go through this area and then we'll come back through with a baby Z2 on a drop shot and just show them different looks after we tune them up. These fish like live off goby, and when I'm cracking a tube, it looks like when I'm doing this that I'm moving that bait far. I'm not. If you watch a crawdad or you watch a goby on the bottom, he darts at very small, very, very small lengths. It's not like he darts 6 foot. And when I'm going like this, I'm only making that bait hop probably 3 to 5 inches at a time. And the other thing is I want it to actually hook that grass down there and not blast it out of it real fast. I want it to hang in that grass, and then when it pops out is when those fish will, got him, ignite and eat it. I don't think he's very big yet, I don't know. He just got bigger. Yeah, it's big. It's coming up, it's coming up. Here he comes. Gosh, whew. I mean, how about that? Just nice ones, nice ones. Ah, I'll hug you. I just made out with a smallmouth right there. Wasn't awkward at all, was it? A lot of people ask me why I fish so much. And it's strange. I totally remember the first bass I caught when I was small, 4 or 5 years old. I remember what the day looked like. I remember what the sky looked like. I could almost smell that day, and that bass was about that long. And I swear, I've said this, I chase that feeling. I chase that feeling to this day. I get that feeling on every one of them I hook. I went through a mile without a bite, and it's so vast out there. It is so incredibly vast. Your wheels start turning, you know. I mean, I do a lot of lake hopping shows, and all of a sudden I'm like, all right, maybe we ought to put her on the rack and take the ram beast elsewhere. Just give me one bite, one. I'm gonna kind of start picking up my pace. I don't want to kill a day in here. No good. And we're all talking, I get on another wave trench, and it was a little bit shallower on the one that I went to, but I got a lot of history on that next wave trench, and I throw that coffee tube out there, and it locks up. That's a big one, and that was the one bite we needed, because what's fixing to happen, it's gonna get ugly. Here he comes. Oh, you know what he is? That's Mr. Pretty Boy right there. That's Mr. Pretty Boy. Mr. Pretty Boy just came to the party, friends. But here's what's funny is, that fish right there bit, and it's almost like, I know this sounds nuts, but it's like there's a, here he comes. Hi there. Not a giant one. Ooh, look at that rod. I love that rod. That rod was absolutely made for this technique, 100%. The reason why, okay, you see how he's dogging? See how he's dogging? That's where if you got an underpowered rod, you want to have leverage on him instead of him having leverage on me. The rod is critical. It is paramount. I was using a Lew's Signature Series Mark Zona Tube Kraken Special, 7 foot 2 inches. You want to reach out and touch somebody. You want to throw that thing as far as you can get it out, okay? A lot of the smallmouth, I don't like to get near them. I like to be back from them. I don't like to get on top of them, and that length of the rod will get it out there. The other side is, you don't want a rod that is too soft. You don't want a rod that is too stiff. If it's too stiff, you're just gonna break your line. If it's too soft, you're not gonna get a hook in them when they're out there. It's when I'm sitting there and I'm cracking that tube and that rod starts to load up, I just start cracking harder and reeling as fast as I can to get that rod to load. And the great thing about that rod was made for this show, for what we're doing. You ready? It's coming up. And I'm a nutbag about it. Here he comes. Woo! Cocktail time might be a couple hours early tonight, if you know what I mean, my gentlemanly friends. Woo! That rod, that's a big bass, man. That rod owns him. Where a lot of things go wrong is at the side of the boat. When they get leverage on you, that's a big one. Top dead center. That's a big one, man. A coffee tube, a 3.5-inch coffee tube it's how I find them. I use a very big lead head, a 3/8 ounce lead head, and I go, and I go. I call it power finesse. You're using a notoriously slow technique, but with a big jig head, you're able to cover water quickly and get a reaction bite. It's coming right at me, dog. I got you. I got you. I got you. It's so cool. Oh, if there's a lesson in fishing, just let them reload. What was really cool was we were done. Show was done, and you know, pull the curtain back. We were going to do some slow motion and some drone footage, and I just kind of drifted off about 100 yards, and it started again. He's going to come up. Giant. I caught him in a place in there where I had never caught a bass before, and it just shows how much those things move around in here. This is the best thing in the world. Best thing in the world, man. Ah! Bad puppy. Got you. I got you. I got you. To me, and I'll live by this, and there's some of you old school smallmouth fishermen watching this right now, a coffee tube is and always has been, it is the #1 smallmouth weapon, period. Look at that, dude. Look at that thing. Uh-huh. It's like a tarpon. It's coming up. Get ready, get ready. Gosh. Ta-da! Yes! I mean, Jackie Chublin. How about that, man? What's really funny about doing this, especially on the Great Lakes, is you can make 1,000 casts. You can make 1,000 casts out here and not hit them because they're all sitting right there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're, especially like today, they're not all over, they're right there. Look, I'm like every one of you at home that smallmouth fishes. I always got a drop shot with a baby Z2. I've got a, you know, a Ned Rage craw on, ready to get finessey with them. But when they are eating a tube, give it to them. When I would get in one of those scraps, had it again, where I'm catching them, I would check them with another bait. You know what? If they're eating it, run the ball. Run the ball. Bit it right under the boat. Stay hooked. Gosh, what a jump, man. It's a good one. It's a good one. Fish bit it like 4 times. Stay hooked. that's a big one. So, worst landing in the history of Protein Journal. I mean, a good old-fashioned meat pie right there. Yes! The whole deal on Lake Huron, the whole deal, you have to find one. They don't travel alone, but you got to find one. Throw the coffee tube. The other side is I'm addicted to throwing a coffee tube. It's a lot more fun to crack on them. It really is. It's a special day, man. Fun day. It's what this show is, no doubt.